Are you so sick of the side effects of your blood pressure medication that you're just seconds from... Hi, I'm Dr. Marlene Merritt, and if you've been searching for a natural way to lower your blood pressure, then this free video presentation just might save your life. Because in just a few moments, I want to share with you one tasty trick for lowering your blood pressure that the big drug companies would do anything to keep you from discovering. And I'm also going to reveal the one toxic food that you must avoid if you want healthy, natural blood pressure levels. And it's not salt, as you've been led to believe. So please pay careful attention to the information I'm about to reveal to you, because I don't know how long this free video will be available. Now, the moment you learn this simple tip, you'll be able to take control of your own health, instead of living at the mercy of a billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry that wants to hook you for life. Imagine the relief you'll feel, getting your health and energy back, unafraid to sit down for a blood pressure test at home or your doctor's office, confident that your numbers will read as healthy as a 20-year-old's, watching serenely as your BP numbers shrink past 140 over 90, 127 over 87, 122 over 79, and even lower. And all without having to put dangerous drugs into your system. Drugs that make you feel like you're just not yourself anymore, like you're a stranger in your own body. So if you've ever wanted to say enough to your blood pressure meds because you're sick and tired of side effects like splitting headaches, energy-stealing fatigue, insomnia, mysterious painful rashes, or frequent urination, and you're convinced there must be a better way to target the root cause instead of just masking the symptoms, then you're not alone. Because that's exactly how a retired railroad engineer named Dan felt after he was put on 6 different medications. He finally had enough, so he tossed his meds in the trash. Now, when Dan did this, his wife was shocked. In Dan's words, she went ballistic. And for a good reason. See, she is an emergency room nurse, so she's witnessed more than her share of horror stories of people who let their blood pressure run out of control and suffered the consequences: kidney failure, blindness, heart attacks, and the ravages of stroke, the paralyzed faces, the slurred, impossible to understand speech, the humiliating disorientation, and the months or years of rehabilitation just so they could manage simple things on their own, like button their own pants after using the bathroom. And those were the lucky ones who lived. Dan's wife knew that high blood pressure is the #1 cause of strokes in America, so you can understand why she was horrified by Dan's decision, especially when you hear what Dan's blood pressure was just 1 week earlier, an extremely high 200 over 100. So high, some doctors would recommend immediate hospitalization. But Dan wasn't being silly or ignoring reality. He was simply a man who had had enough. I'll let him tell it.
We give you this for the blood pressure, and this medication here is to offset the blood pressure medication, and this third medication is to offset your medication we're giving you to offset this one. And that's why I told my wife, I said, I'm taking a blood pressure medication, and I've got 3 other medications to counteract what the blood pressure medication does. And I said, that's crazy.
Maybe you know firsthand what Dan experienced when you're taken for a ride on what I call the drug roller coaster. Because just like on a roller coaster, you keep going up and down as your doctor experiments with one drug after another, hoping but failing to find one perfect fit. So maybe this week it's a diuretic that forces you to sneak away to the bathroom every 10 minutes, causing you to rush to the doctors and plead for something else. And so the following week he puts you on a beta blocker that drains your energy, leaving you stumbling around in a fog. But the ride is just getting started, because then you get saddled with even more drugs to combat the side effects of the blood pressure drugs. And those new drugs have their own side effects that demand even more drugs, and on and on. That's life on the drug roller coaster. Well, Dan had enough, and that's why he tossed his meds. And the startling truth is, he could trash his meds without facing his doctor's disapproval, or the wrath of his wife, because once he showed her his new blood pressure numbers, she couldn't help but agree with his decision, because his new numbers didn't lie. I'll let Dan share the good news.
Within a week, I went from 200 over 100 to 126 over 71.
That's right, from a dangerous, stroke-threatening 200 over 100 to 126 over 71, the numbers of a healthy 17-year-old. And in just 1 week! That's faster than some prescriptions work. And Dan slashed these 110 points from his BP when he discovered an unusual natural secret that I call the butter shortcut. The butter shortcut is based on simple, tasty choices that you'll love. And it works fast. In fact, some people using this butter shortcut have sent their high blood pressure plummeting in as little as 3 days. And best of all, it does not depend on a single manufactured drug. And don't worry, this isn't like the advice you may have heard in your doctor's office. You won't have to throw away your salt shaker. Because did you know that too little sodium will actually cause your blood pressure to rise? And you won't be forbidden to ever eat another slice of bacon, or denied enjoying a rich helping of creamy butter when you sit down to dinner. Yes, real butter. Instead, the butter shortcut is a practical and mouth-watering way to lower blood pressure, allowing you to enjoy real foods like fresh eggs and juicy steaks that deliver key ingredients your body needs, helping you zap your high blood pressure at its source, while you shed unwanted pounds, banish nagging stress, and enjoy a renewed surge of energy. And it's a secret that over 43,000 people, in addition to Dan, have discovered, from all over America, all the way to the ends of the earth from Australia to South Africa. People like Betty H. from Mims, Florida, who wrote, "And yes, I have not taken any BP meds in a month now, and my BP went from 154/80 down to 118/68. I couldn't be happier. Very easy steps to follow, easy to download, and great results. This is an easy program to follow." And Mark B. from Corona, California, who achieved startling results in just 2 weeks. "My blood pressure was at 162/86, and in 2 weeks I got it down to 130/80. And Karen C. from Aldershot, Australia, was able to slash her meds with her doctor's blessing. "My doctor just halved my BP medication and said he may cancel it if I keep up the good work. I have had a serious BP drop." They all achieved amazing drops in their blood pressure, and they did it fast, sometimes in just a matter of a few days, while at the same time ridding themselves of stress and extra weight. Because Dan dropped 20 pounds without breaking a sweat, and Ed H. from Linwood, Washington, dropped 25 pounds. I've dropped from 210 pounds to 185. My blood pressure is now normal, and my energy level has gotten better, as well as a more positive outlook. Thanks so much for your continued support. It's making a real difference in my life and that of my family. Now, I totally understand if you may feel a little skeptical, and maybe even wondering, blood pressure that drops like a stone in just days? Melting away fat and banishing stress while enjoying bursts of renewed energy? Is it really possible to accomplish this without drugs? Well, the drug companies certainly want you to believe that it's not possible, because they desperately need the billions of dollars they get from selling us blood pressure medication. In fact, blood pressure medication, or antihypertensives, are the single most prescribed drugs in the U.S., totaling nearly 700 million prescriptions in 2013 alone, more than those for diabetics, high cholesterol, and nervous system disorders combined. So it's no wonder that Big Pharma pushes these drugs on overworked doctors so hard. Doctors who just don't have the time to deeply understand your situation, so they never get at the root causes of your high blood pressure. Plus, doctors today just aren't trained to heal with natural means. For example, most receive less than 23 hours of training in nutrition during their entire education. So it's not surprising that most resort to the easy choice of scribbling out a prescription. Now, when I decided to devote my life to medicine, I knew I didn't want to get stuck in that system. So I dedicated myself to an education that was laser-focused on natural ways to cure diseases. Remedies supported by centuries of success and backed up by the latest science. Natural cures that eliminate illnesses at their source. And for me, it's personal, because traditional drugs failed to help me too. See, when I was only 20, I was diagnosed with a faulty valve in my heart. It threatened to rob me of my quality of life. At the time, my doctor prescribed medications. But even with those foreign chemicals churning in my body, I was still hammered with chest pains every time I walked up a flight of stairs. So I was forced to give up my active lifestyle, watching my friends enjoy themselves while I sat on the sidelines. I had to quit my cycling team, which I loved, and stay away from any kind of exhilarating activity, in fear of the moment my heart would start pounding like a jackhammer and be clobbered with crushing pain in my chest. That was my life, and I thought I was stuck in it forever. But years later, after I received my degree in Oriental medicine, I knew there had to be a better way than traditional drugs, especially since they weren't working that well anyway. So I sought out a natural health practitioner who had had a hunch that a nutrient deficiency was to blame for my faulty valve. He showed me how to supply my body with the ingredients it needed, and within a week my chest pains diminished and my energy level shot back up. So much that I was finally able to get back on the bike and ride long distances again. And so I celebrated with a 26-day across-the-country bike ride the very next year. And because I never want to see my patients needlessly suffer for years like I did, I devote my work at Merrick Wellness Center to help my patients get off drugs and find natural, permanent solutions.